future. We're talking real money.
We continue to state and believe firmly that the most important thing you do in your life with money, well, short of just living life, is saving it and investing it for that time you are no longer able to work and support yourself. Now, back in the olden days, people didn't retire. They just worked and died. Well, that changed in the 20th century and continues to change in the 21st as we live longer and longer. And there's a period when we eventually say, I'm going to hang it up and live off of Social Security and my investments. But a lot of people worry, how am I going to get to where I need to get to enjoy a decent retirement? Because I know Social Security isn't going to do it. I just know it. I can't live on $2,000 a month or $2,500. I can't do it. Not in Seattle or wherever expensive I live. But I only have a part-time job because of a disability or a family member you need to take care of. Or I'm over 50 and I didn't save. I'm just too far along. I'll never make it. Well, the reality is you have to find a way. And there are ways to do it. Now, we're not going to tell you they're necessarily easy or pleasant, but it can be done.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating that Gen X, which I think they're like ages 50 to 59. That's what I read. Anyway.
I don't know.
I don't either. But, I mean, these are people that are, striking range of retirement, right? I mean, that's getting pretty close. They believe that they expect to retire at age 67. That's the average. But the average retirement age for people, and this surprised me too, is somewhere between 61 and 62, which means you and I should have been out the door a long time ago. But we're going to hang in there. The other bad news about Gen X is they haven't saved much. The average 401k or savings for retirement household saving, $40,000. 40,000. That's not going to be enough to, well, you mentioned just trying to make this on your own with Social Security, which it was never intended to do either, by the way. It was never intended as the resource for all retirement. So, and what are the problems that Gen X faces? Not unlike a lot of the problems that us baby boomers faced, right? Sort of paying for all the things you got to pay for while your kids are growing up, while you're taking care of not just your kids, maybe in sometimes cases, your parents,
yeah,
all
dogs,
those kind of things,
cats,
it's all the stuff that kind of grow, for us, by the way, in the last week, it's been the refrigerator and the oven in 1 week.
I got you beat.
Don't you always?
Got you beat. I mean, we had a water heater and then it turns out it leaked under the walls.
Oh God.
And now the wood floor has to be replaced to the tune of, or not all of it, just repaired to the tune of $4,800.
They sand it down.
They're going to take out some boards.
Anyway. Yeah, it's bad. So Gen Xers, it says in this article, have a hard time saying no to their kids. Now, I think I had the same.
Baby boomers too.
I was thinking, well, that's nothing new. But that's one part. And then the other part that we read about regularly is the challenges for people that are working part-time and trying to save for retirement, right? There's a lot of them. It's really surprising the number of people that are sort of getting by. They're working part-time and they've got to save something. Almost 70% of the part-time workers are women who have a harder time saving because they get in the workplace, they get out of the workplace, right? And out of those, only 33% say they're putting a lot of thought into all this. That they're not spending time thinking about it. They got others they're helping, others they're taking care of. What do you do about all this? This is a fascinating topic to me because our job, as you said at the open, is exactly right. We want to help you save something. We want to help you invest something. We want you to get to the place where you can believe, hopefully correctly, that you have enough to retire and create this other income. So there's a couple things I thought of, Don, when this comes up. Number one, and I will touch on this at Retire Meet, is the spend, right? Most people
That's one of the painful things.
It is. You said painful.
Because
that's absolutely right.
The trick is spend less.
I know. And it's hard. But here's a starting point. And we touched on this before. There's a couple places I think people can look at that they don't. Number one is these doggone monthly subscriptions, Disney Plus, Sirius XM radio, YouTube Music, which I didn't even know was a thing. Gym
It
membership.
isn't a thing. It isn't a thing. It's Apple Music and Amazon are the big ones, but
yeah, I mean, Costco membership. I mean, these things all
Spotify. I forgot Spotify.
Forget them. But
Yeah.
I have said, I think we said it sometime.
We did a show on this.
We did
where we talked about some of the tools you could use. Yes.
There's tools. There's a thing called a spreadsheet. So as you get one on your credit card bill, you put it in there, you start to figure out all the ones you've got, and then you figure out how to get rid of some of them. I mean, they're huge. It adds up.
Yeah, but that's a challenge because I found some of mine and I can't even find a phone number to cancel them, and they won't let you cancel on their website. I don't even know what you do with those.
Outrageous. I mean, it's easy to sign up on their website, right?
Bet good luck finding a place to sign out.
Good Lord. Okay, that's one place. It maybe call Don for advice on how to get out of them. Here's another one, though, that I think people overlook, and that's sort of the annual bills, cell phone, utility bills, insurance policies. We ran into somebody yesterday that is 2 years from retirement and has huge life insurance. I said, well, your kids are launched. The other parties
stop paying for the life insurance.
That's an easy one. Put a line through that one.
Yeah.
Again, that would be kind of the starting point for me, is sort of figure out things you could. And Don said it might be painful, but you gotta start figuring out how to pare that back, because that's where the savings is going to come from. Then around the actual savings. Now, we have talked about Acorns before, which I like because it requires no discipline. It's simply a place where you spend the money and part of that goes into savings. I happen to believe truly that for most people, unless it's automated, most people don't have the discipline to write a check to somewhere to save something. It's just very hard to do. The world is full of messages on how you should spend your money, very little on messages about how to save it properly. I think an automated method of doing it, and maybe that's a withdrawal from your bank account, right? That goes into, and I think, by the way, for most people, the Roth IRA. I did look up if you're single, your modified gross, if it's less than 150,000, basically you can put money away into a Roth. If it's more than that, then you can only do an IRA. But I think it's a Roth IRA. I think it's automated, and then you need to invest it in something that we've talked about on the program before, Don. I mean, a general, widely diversified exchange traded fund, whether that is DFAW, AVGE, and pardon me, I know somebody criticized it. The first one is Dimensional Funds, exchange traded fund that's a global equity fund. The second one is Avantis' global equity fund. I think either of those would be great. But unless you really start to figure these things out, the minute I'll give you an example, okay? A personal example. This year, Don hasn't congratulated me yet, but I've lost over 15 pounds. Yay for me. But here's how I did it. I did. But here's how I did it.
Well, the problem is whenever I see you, I only see you from the shoulders up.
Oh, well, okay, that's true. You don't see
congratulations.
But here's how I did it. I did it using a diary. I write down every single thing I eat every day. And I took the day off of the Super Bowl. Okay. Every once in a while, I'm like, letting it go. But the thing is, do that with your spending. Yeah, it's a pain in the what, but I'll tell you what.
Only if you're disciplined like Tom.
You go back and then you look at it and say, did I really need to spend X? Do I really need $25 a week from Starbucks? Wasn't there a book somebody wrote about eliminating Starbucks and you have enough to retire on or something? Yeah. But things like that. And then, because then if you don't have the discipline, then you can at least have it written down and say, I didn't really need that. No different than me saying, wow, that piece of pizza looks delicious, but it doesn't fit the overall plan. So it gives you the discipline that you may not have. And that's the key, Don. We've talked about this so many times, is finding a way to say, here's how I'm going to fix it, but then putting something in place that makes the discipline part easy, because it's so hard for most of us to make those changes that are going to be substantial and really add up over time, right?
But what if you don't have the discipline to write stuff down?
That's a good point. Then you hire somebody else who follows you around, I guess.
I don't have the discipline to write stuff. My wife the other day gave me this little planner thing. See that little planner?
Yeah, that's cute.
What am I going to do with this? It doesn't fit in my pocket. It's not like I'm going to carry it around with me. But she gave me a planner.
I love that.
So you have to have discipline to pull this stuff off.
You do. I mean, you mentioned pain. Discipline is in there. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. If you wake up at 50 and you have $40,000 saved, you're not on track to retire really at any level.
No.
Or you're going to just say, well, I'll take it as it comes and I'll live on Social Security. And we know people that do, and it's not very comfortable. It's not very good. It just leads to a bad situation later in your life.
And you may intend to keep working as your solution to that problem.
That's why I said the 61 or 62. People think they're going to work till 67, but something happens to their job, something happens to their health, something comes along that precludes you from continuing that employment. And by the way, I think about that regularly at my age. Like, what about wake up one day?
I find now that I'm having more health issues than I've ever had in my life, old age is not for sissies.
No,
and I'm a sissy.
And you need to have and I mentioned this in the Retire Meet guide, program guide, that I have a plan in place. If it all blows up tomorrow, I know what I'm going to do. Is it going to be as good as if I keep working a couple more years? No, but it is. You got to have that plan. So, I mean, and that does bring me to the second part of all of this. At age 50, I think you are a prime candidate to talk to somebody. I don't care if you have 40,000.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's second part.
Okay.
Your financial advisor should be part shrink anyway. We know that, to keep you invested properly. But that's a major part of your world from 50 on is working towards, as you very eloquently put it, a place where you're no longer going to be able to have a regular paycheck. You need to generate one. You got to talk to a professional. And I mean a real professional, not a stockbroker, not an insurance agent, et cetera, et cetera. A real planner. Now, listen, you're going to say, but I don't have the assets. It doesn't matter. It does not. You can find people that will do it. I got to tell you. You'll find people or write a plan. Either way, but you got to get one. You really do, because it's going to be a disaster if you don't. I'll put it that way.
So, do that. And by the way, just because I was really curious, because I remember earlier I said, what is Generation X?
Yes.
I didn't know which one that was.
And
I have the generations. Would you like to know the
please,
I think this is fascinating. I never looked at this before.
The baby boomers go down to about
let's start
65.
Let's start in the late 19th century.
Oh.
The first one they named was the Lost Generation.
I don't want to be part of that.
I know. That's anybody born between 1883 and 1900.
And they're lost now to us.
Yeah, well, they're totally lost.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
They're all lost.
Fair enough.
Then that was followed by one you're familiar with, the Greatest Generation.
Sure.
1901 to 27.
Oh, well, that's okay. My parents were born in 25, so okay.
So they were just at the end of the Greatest Generation.
Got it.
My parents were part of this one. And it seems so appropriate now when I look back. 1928 to 45, that was the Silent Generation. You just didn't hear from them much. They really didn't do anything. They didn't accomplish anything.
I remember the Silent Majority. I don't remember the Silent
Generation.
All right, fair enough.
Their children and the children of the Greatest Generation sort of combined into this behemoth demographic group to which we belong.
Yeah.
The baby boomers
that deserve blame for everything.
Everything that's gone wrong. It's all our fault until we're dead, and then you're going to get to blame it on Generation X,
which is
1965.
Okay, I knew it
to 1980.
Okay.
Yep. So I don't have any children in X, nor do you.
Nope.
All of our children.
I have a wife that's in X, but okay, that's a whole other thing. So.
We're not going there. We're not.
This isn't that kind of show.
There. Okay. No. Then that's followed by the millennials, also known as Generation Y.
Yes. Why not?
1981 to 1996.
All of my kids are in that. Well, no, not all of them, but this is really making me look bad. But
because you got a wife in one.
I know, this is
two
bad.
kids in another kid in another.
Okay, fair enough.
Then they're the Zoomers, which
I've never even heard of that one.
That's Gen Z.
Oh, Gen Z, sure.
1987 to 2012.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
I guess everybody decided none of those generations worked all that well, so we're going to start all over again.
And
in 2012,
it is Generation
Alpha.
Wait, Elon Musk naming these things or something? That's weird.
I'm telling you, Generation A. So it's Gen A. We're currently in Gen A.
Restarting. Okay.
We're restarting. So really, basically, what we've got alive right now, for the most part, is the Silent Generation right up until Alpha.
Yeah, got it. That's very helpful. Okay.
I just thought that was a fascinating.
It is.
I've never
I've never heard of the lost generation.
Never heard of anybody. I've never heard that spelled out anywhere.
The lost generation. I thought that was people from the 60s or something, like the Vietnam War, drugs,
those were
rock and roll.
Those were the stoned boomers. It's like in the middle of the boomers, the stoned boomers.
Okay, fair enough. All right, we got time for a couple questions here.
Wasn't that a lot of us boomers?
Yeah, there are. Yeah.
I know pretty much all of us boomers.
Mm.
Well, a couple of kids didn't, but I can't think of any. All right, go ahead. Question.
This is from Todd in Seattle, Washington. I'm a longtime fan of yours and a customer of Apella. When I listen to Dimensional Fund's discussion on how they can improve indexing, it sounds like someone saying they can time the market, wait for the market to dip before buying. Please explain to me why this is not a contradiction. Thank you.
Dimensional.
They were okay. What you fell down?
I did. I fell down because
that might be the last time you fell down.
This is another one of my pet peeves: the fact that Dimensional and
publicly promotes the fact that they're an actively managed exchange traded fund.
I hate that because, again, it's the vocabulary. I don't think the vocabulary of the industry serves us well. If we're going to bifurcate investing into two things, active and passive, then I think you've done everybody who invests a disservice because you're confusing the process. I think it's just so confusing for Dimensional and Avantis to use the terms active. I think they like using it because they don't want to sound like people who aren't doing anything.
That's exactly right.
We're not just sitting around twiddling our thumbs. No, we're doing something.
Better than indexing. Yeah.
But if you listen to what Dimensional and Avantis say, they're not picking stocks.
Nor are they timing markets. This is what Todd heard was we buy things on certain days under certain conditions, which they do, but it's rules-based.
But it's formulaic. It is
exactly.
Totally. It is not
systematic.
There is no looking at a squiggly line and going, I think that squiggly line is going to bounce back up there.
But you're right. It's a fine point. It's very gray. It's very hard to understand. I agree. So we're going to be meeting with the folks from Dimensional here in a few days, and I'm going to ask them.
I am too.
Because I think it's legit. How do we explain this to you?
Yep.
How do we tell people
As a matter of fact, do we have a Q&A time at Retirement?
We do.
Oh, God. I'm sorry. This plays on Monday, so it's after. Never mind. So let's take out. We're going to ask Apella. Let's just take all that out. Yeah, it's just a very confusing situation, and I understand why the correspondent would ask that question because it frustrates me, and I wish we could get a better terminology. Maybe it's time for me to write the new investing dictionary.
Ooh, that we'll stand by for that. I'm always happy to read whatever you've written. It's good stuff. So
actually, that is not such a bad idea. The new investing dictionary, because the terminology we use
changed.
It's not only has it changed, but it's been misused.
I agree, and for purposes of wouldn't surprise you for profitability. People are trying to make a buck.
Oh, yeah.
So
absolutely.
There is a difference between market timing and what Dimensional does. It is a fine point. I'll agree with you there, Todd. No question. This comes from David in Kenmore, Washington. 2 questions from the Seattle area.
You get more with a Kenmore because a Kenmore's got so much more to give.
Speaking of those baby boomer ads, he says, hi, I would like to start building up a position in a dividend ETF or dividend mutual fund to create a monthly or quarterly cash flow investment. I have a Vanguard account and would like to know which funds you would recommend. It would be a long-term position that would be intended to create cash flow.
Didn't we just cover this?
I believe we did.
Well, I guess we're going to have to cover it again. These days, dividends are not what they used to be. Dividend stocks, high enough paying dividend stocks are in the minority. Investors don't expect dividends. So therefore, generally speaking, when you get a high dividend paying stock, you're getting a troubled company, a value stock, or something like a utility, something that you're leaving growth on the table. And the numbers, the data shows that you would have been better off investing in a well-diversified portfolio of stocks, whether they pay big dividends or no dividends, and then building a bond portfolio for stability and a little income, but you're not buying bonds for the income, and then taking a certain amount, a stated amount of money, a predetermined percentage of your portfolio out as income every year. We believe that is a much better strategy for creating income and probably more consistent, and at least according to the numbers we've looked at, incredibly less volatile.
I was just getting to that. So, I mean, here's a couple things to keep in mind. When you really just try to focus on dividend-paying stocks, and we've done this recently, as you said, you reduce your diversification by somewhere around half. You own half as many, basically, or far more than that, because if you buy a fund that's really trying to pick those dividend stocks, you reduce your diversification. Number two, and this won't surprise you, Don just mentioned it, your volatility has gone up. You're dealing with greater swings in your portfolio, which most people don't want. They want more stability. They want just wake up every morning and see a little bit more money in my account. Wouldn't that be nice? So, no, this would not be a strategy we'd recommend. And what Don just mentioned is something that I talked about at Retirement recently, and that is a total return strategy. Instead, build the right portfolio, rebalance that right portfolio, take the dividends, whatever is paid out, take the interest, that all goes into the pot, then create the income from that. That has been a more sustainable strategy for a very long period of time, especially in retirement.
Plus, that strategy also lends itself to a couple of very important things that we believe you must do to your portfolio regularly, and that is both rebalance and tax loss sell, so that you can use these opportunities when you're taking out income to sell some of your losers possibly and take a loss that you need to offset some gains or some income. To rebalance the portfolio, you may have way too much in stocks, way too little in bonds. So instead of taking the money out of the stocks and putting it in the bonds, you take the money out of the stocks and spend it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so that strategy, as I said, has been proven over the long haul. It has been more sustainable. And again, we would not recommend you run out and try to buy any high dividend paying ETF, especially.
No,
that would be bad
avoid.
news.
You should not be investing for the income. You should be investing for the total return of the portfolio combined with the degree of safety, and safety or risk, the obverse, is is one of those words that I need to define. Because risk, we generally think of risk as losing everything. That's not the way risk works with proper investing. Risk now changes from losing it to just watching it bounce around. It's a different path. It's a different process. It needs a different word.
I was just going to say that's in your dictionary there, because that's another one that people misunderstand. Again,
I actually see the format of the dictionary in my head. It's like a flow chart. So you start at the top of the page with investing, and then you bring it down into all the things
boom.
It is assumed to be and is not, and then we narrow that down to the one thing it is that most people don't realize it is.
Or they don't do it properly, and that brings me to another point here, and that is what's in your portfolio. Most people don't know.
Is this a Capital One ad?
No, most people don't know, but they don't. They come in all the time. We look at did you know that a third of your money was in cash? Did you know a third of it was in 7 stocks? I mean, most people don't know. And we have this wonderful service where you get to meet with one of our advisors, absolutely free. We run the portfolio for you. Then you know how much in stocks, how much in bonds, how much you're paying, how much risk, all those things. It's a wonderful report. You've got to, as anyone who's investing in markets should always know. In fact, I just pulled mine up yesterday after the recent debacle, just to look at and see what my ratios were.
There was a debacle?
Good. There was a one-day debacle. And so, I mean, this is something you got to know. It's easy to do. You simply go to talkingrealmoney.com, click on Meet an Advisor, and guess what? We do it free with no sales pitch, no obligation. No one will call. No one will come to your door. But do we have a budget that maybe we could use to hire
Jennifer Garner just to pop up on the screen and go, so what's in your portfolio?
I wonder what that's spendy. That's
Just,
okay. Yeah.
just not no broadcast, just on the web. It's got to be a lower rate. I know when I do voice work for the web, it's at a much lower rate than for broadcast.
I'll let you look into that when you let me know.
All right, I'll call Jen. We go way back.
I guess you do. Mm-hmm. Anyway, take advantage of that because there's no time like the present as to knowing how your portfolio is properly positioned. If it is. Pardon.
There's no time like the present to figure out if your portfolio is diversified. On that note, we're going to put this one to bed. That's it. I'm Don. That's Tom. Together, we're talking real money.
The opinions and views expressed in this podcast were current on the date recorded. Opinions, estimates, forecasts, and statements of financial market trends that are based on current market conditions constitute our judgment and are subject to change without notice, including any forward-looking estimates or statements which are based on certain expectations and assumptions.
Although information and opinions given have been obtained from or based on sources believed to be reliable, no warranty or representation is made as to their correctness, completeness, or accuracy.
Information presented on the podcast is not personalized investment advice from Apella Wealth. The views and strategies described may not be suitable for everyone. This podcast does not identify all the risks, direct or indirect, or other considerations which might be material to you when entering any financial transaction. Past performance does not guarantee future results, and profitable results cannot be guaranteed. We hope you realize that the information provided on Talking Real Money is for informational, educational, and hopefully enjoyable purposes only. The podcast is not trying to get you to buy or sell any financial products or securities. Instead, the program is provided as a public service by Apella Wealth, a fee-only registered investment advisor.
Please see Apella Wealth's ADV Part 2A on our website for information regarding Apella's fees and services.
Apella Capital, LLC, DBA Apella Wealth, is an investment advisory firm registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. The firm only transacts business in the states where it is properly registered or excluded or exempt from registration requirements. Registration with the SEC or any state securities authority does not imply a certain level of skill or training. Apella does not provide tax or legal advice, and nothing either stated or implied here should be inferred as providing such advice. Thanks for listening, and please visit TalkingRealMoney.com for more information and important disclosure related to performance of any specific index or fund quoted in this podcast. I think I need a nap.